A Missouri judge hates buyer brokers and destroys the defense's argument. And rising interest rates obliterates the refi market and slams lenders across the board on today's Unnamed Real Estate Podcast. You guys realize it probably took me 30 minutes sitting there reading articles trying to come up with that catchphrase at the beginning? Hi, my name is Charles Ray Dawson. This is the Unnamed Real Estate Podcast, and I am the Associate Broker and Residential Sales Manager for ProStar Realty, and this is episode 65. So, let's just start with the obvious, right? I'm sucking on a cough drop. I got Kleenex in my hand and stuff like that. I'm hacking up along. I'm going to try to complete this without dying and choking on my own phlegm, right? Because Who concert was awesome. A lot of great people there. Somebody in that room had a head cold and spread it to me. Now, strangely enough, it missed the other three people I was with and caught me full bore. And I've been just wallowing in misery for the last couple of weeks or last couple of days. And no, it's not COVID, because I took the test, right? Because I had clients to meet the other day. I took Monday off, took Sunday off feeling cruddy, took Monday off, didn't come into the office and worked from home. Tuesday, I got voluntold that I was going to be meeting with some people, and I also had a client who wanted to see a house. So on the way into the office, I stopped, got a little COVID test, took it back here in my cube. Everything went well. And I'm just suffering through the rest of the week. So I'm going to really try not to sneeze. I don't have a sneeze button or anything like this, which is really annoying. Professional recording studios have that little sneeze button. I guess what I could probably do is I could keep my mouse over the and just pause every once in a while when I decided I needed to sneeze or throw up or whatever the hell I'm going to do. But I think you're going to get pretty tired of it if I keep doing this for the rest of us. So we're just going to try to power through this thing, right? I might snorkel snot or something, but hey. So, reason for that lead-in. Reason for the lead-in, and the way we did it that way, is I'm listening to a podcast. Name is Barry Weiss. She's got a podcast called Honestly, and she had a guy on today, or this week, talking about how social media hijacks your attention. And in the course of this thing, he was talking about YouTube and how the YouTube algorithms takes the videos like this one right here and decides whether or not it's going to promote it. Now, YouTube does not have people watching every one of these videos and going, oh, wow, this Ray Dawson, he's awesome. Let's bump him up 5 stars and make sure people see him. No, the algorithm looks for catchphrases in words. And basically, they have discovered through the power of social engineering that everybody loves kittens. They like to look at kittens, maybe puppies being rescued from storm drains. That's great, that's wonderful. But what really keeps you focused and glued to the screen, which is what all these social media channels want. They want eyes on screens, preferably swiping. Left, right, indifferent, right, is hate. You are genetically engineered to pay attention to the things that hate you or that you hate. Right? If you think about this, there's some evolutionary reasons for that. I mean, like, you don't want to get focused on, oh, look, flowers, daisies, and miss a saber-toothed tiger stalking on you. So the algorithm apparently has decided that those 4 words, hates, destroys, obliterates, and slams, is what is going to get you watching the video. All right, so I decided to include it into this and say hates, destroys, obliterates, slams as many times as possible, because maybe, just maybe, the soulless artificial intelligence algorithm will look at my video, go, this guy hates and obliterates and destroys and slams the opposition, and decide everybody needs to pay more attention to this guy because he is full of hate and destruction and obliteration and slamming. So, and you thought it was just Ben Shapiro. When all these things started coming out with every freaking pundit out there, and it would be Carol Burnett destroys, Madagascar as taglines, you thought it was just, no, this is people gaming the system, right? This is a real search engine optimization of the real world nowadays. So I am pretty joking, but I really hope that this entire demonstration, how silly this is, sort of gets the point across to you guys about how much we're all getting manipulated out there. So keep your tinfoil hats on, boys and girls. But in the news, it has been full of hate and destruction and obliteration and people's hopes and dreams getting slammed, especially this week, it seems like. And mostly because of court cases. All right, from the realtor standpoint and from the sales agents and buyer's agent standpoint, there's been two separate major court happenings that have really driven people crazy. Earlier this week, there was a judge in U.S. District Court in Western Missouri, and he is granted what's called class certification to a lawsuit. And with class certification is usually you hear about this stuff like asbestos or drugs, or, you know, when this car designed poorly where the both wheels go like that at 65 miles an hour and the car flips over and kills everybody on board. Instead of having each individual plaintiff go finding themselves an attorney, go schlepping down to the court, filing for their time in front of the court, class action just says, hey, we have a broad group of people who have been roughly impacted in exactly the same way, so we're going to sue on behalf of all of them. If you are over the age of 40, I'm pretty sure by now you have gotten a letter in the mail saying that you are in a group that could be part of a class action suit. Do you want to continue? You sign the piece of paper, you send it away. Next thing you know, you get a check in the mail for $17.34 because Western Union overcharged in a time period where you sent a Western Union telegram. So the judge over here has set class action for a lawsuit talking about how agents are compensated. And this is exactly what I've been talking about before with buyer brokers, how, you know, sellers hire an agent to sell their house. That agent then goes out there and offers money to other agents to find them a buyer. Those agents with buyers find that house, a transaction happens, and the selling agent, which is called listing agent, all right, the listing agent then turns around and shares that money with the buyer's agent or the selling agent, right? That's how that whole transaction happens. The court case is coming down saying, well, sellers wouldn't have to pay their real estate agent that much if the buyers were paying for their own agent, and that's wrong. All right, so real big push here to get buyers to pay for their own agents. Compensation things that have been kicked around are a flat fee. I'll help you find a house for $10,000. Personally, especially this week, I like the pay by the hour. I charge you attorney fees, level fees to help you find a house. All right, 15-minute blocks. So every morning, if I spend 15 minutes there, I'm charging you for that 15 minutes looking for your house. Last night, charging an extra hour for waiting an hour past an appointment when a client stood me up because she forgot she was meeting me here at the office at 5. Just saying, that's going on her invoice. Or we can just continue on doing what we're doing. We'll see how this thing turns out, but that got a lot of news on the real estate boards when that sucker came down the pike. The other interesting court that was coming down was a pocket listing lawsuit that had been thrown out by the courts. An appeals court reinstated it. That has to do with who uses listing services, who doesn't use listing services, and whether or not agents feel they have to use a listing service, or could Ray Dawson create his own houses I'm representing for sale, put it out there on the internets, advertise it as non-MLS houses, and make sure everybody knows, hey, don't go to Zillow. These are the houses that only you know about, not everybody else. So when you show up to look at the house, it's just going to be you and a couple other people, not the 75 people standing in front of the house for the 2-hour open house window on Saturday. And that's what that lawsuit is about. So that one has been reinstated. The other one's been reinstated, and that's been a lot of fun to watch. We'll see how all these things play out. The other big news that just dropped this morning that I want to talk about is, and mostly affecting our lenders out there and the lending side of the house, is that new applications for loans have dropped 50% month over month. So there are 50% less people, at least I think it's month for month. It might be year over year, but still 50% is a huge drop. All right? Which means if I'm getting 20 applications for loans in a month, I'm suddenly only getting 10. That's potential loss of half your revenue right there. It was broken down further into 70% of those are refis, which makes sense. Anybody who refied in the twos, like real estate agents like Ray were telling you guys, if you don't have a 2 in front of your interest rate, refi now, are not going to refinance at 5s, which is where we're at right now. So that was 70% of the change. And new home purchase applications, or that's your regular, I need a loan to go buy a house, have dropped 17%. This is, of course, going to result in new, less buyers competing for the houses that exist out there. And let me show you on the numbers here, because we're going to have a really good time. I love what I'm seeing here from a buyer standpoint. So, all right, so these are the numbers for as of yesterday, April 27th, 2022. Actives yesterday were 5,691, which is up 464 from the week before. New listings just hitting the market are 2,764, which is up 417 from the week before. Our pendings went up a bit from 1,886, up 54. Under contracts looking for backup were 1,099, up 51. And buyers' contingency contracts were at 101, which is the biggest number I've seen on that one. Closings last week were 2,186, down 278. Going to be more this week because of the end of the month's coming up. And coming soon to an MLS near you is 1,190. So the big numbers on this thing, bottom left-hand screen, remember this is a new thing I'm tracking. Our demand rate right now is at 102.8. All right, it is 25.9 on the listing side. So now we have 102 people or 103 people looking for 26 houses. Now, this is a number that I'm watching change daily. Hold on for a second. I'm going to check. And we're back. This is what I was checking real quick. Okay, look at that. All right, from the number I just quoted you. All right, over here, let me see if I can flash back to it. Oh, not that one. We're going to get to that one in a bit. All right, 102.8 and 25.9. All right, 102.6, down 0.2, and now 26, up 0.1. That's day over day, all right? The numbers that I have here on this chart that I was showing you are from yesterday on the 27th. This is what I'm seeing, like every day, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. These kind of changes, right? And they're definitely, at least the demand side is coming down. We're at normal. This is a normal demand market. We have this normal amount of buyers out there looking at an abnormal amount of housing, right? But we're also seeing a whole bunch of active and new listings start coming on. Right? This is remember, new listings that you see coming on affect this number right here. Right? This number right here, supply, goes away as houses go pending. Okay? You need the demand to make houses go pending and under contract. So even though we saw a upsurge in about 100, 105 plus that, we have a delta from last week. Let's say about 125 more list contracts going under. We have a new rate. We get 417 more houses on top of that. All right, resulting in 464 more overall. Now remember, you're thinking to yourself, hey, these numbers aren't adding up. What's the weirdness? There's another number that out there that I track, but I don't show you, and that's the back on market. Those are the houses that have fallen out for some reason or another. And also remember, sometimes the coming soon goes directly to pending. Sometimes the coming soon goes directly to close. So you're never going to see a perfect matchup on these numbers, but look at the houses come back on, all right? And this is our spring rush. And last year we did not see this spring rush with demand fall off at the same time. So this did, okay, buyers, sellers, people out there, this does not mean houses are going to suddenly start selling for less, right? We got months of inventory to work on before that. We got months of demand. We would not see a normal balanced market until these two numbers, the closer these two numbers get, the closer you get to a balanced market. All right. These are still very, very far away from each other. There's still a lot of gapage in between them. We're not going anywhere soon. But what we are going to see with this going on is we're going to see houses take a little bit longer to sell. You're not selling it the first weekend. You're not selling it in 72. You're really selling it in 15. So even if somebody's saying, okay, I can sell this in 72, you look at their numbers and you realize they're only selling it in they're selling it in 16, 15, 16 days and not 72 hours. Right? This is what we start seeing happening, even though that's actually literally what we're seeing right now. You'll also start seeing like selling, we're going to sell that in 72 hours, but we're only going to sell 9 out of 10 because 1 out of 10 is going to quit because they didn't like what we did. Or we didn't offer what they wanted, whatever it is. Whatever reason they decided not to continue on with that listing. 1 out of 10 is going to decide not to do that. Right? These are going to start building up. I hope I wasn't too obscure and vague on you on that, but don't want to call out certain entities. You know, certain entities are very, very territorial of their brand and their market position in the marketplace. And on billboards and on Super Bowl commercials and everything else. You know, talking about how 72 can get it done when they really need 15 days. Just saying. I say things. That's the kind of person I am. And to wrap up, the last thing I want to talk about is a home buyer tip and trick. All right. Let's say you are very, very interested in the house on the northwest quadrant that we are looking at. It's a lovely little house, recently flipped. But you want to know what the neighbors are like. Go to Google Maps, look at the subject property you're interested in, and you might see that the next door neighbor is actually Fred Sanford of Sanford and Son. And you might, if you could blow that up on your screen, realize that that next door neighbor might have a swimming pool, which is currently filled with 55-gallon drums of dubious nature and various just all sorts of great electrical parts and boxes and old refrigerators and this and that. Now, you can't see this on the satellite view, not the commercial satellite view, but if you were to peek over the wall, perhaps you might see what's going on the next side. Another big giveaway, always watch the roofs, right? When you see a roof that has this many patches and this many shingles, just understand that that's a homeowner that is not in a position to maintain their house. So if you're a real estate agent, you might want to knock on the door and see if you can get a listing out of it. But if you're a next door neighbor, or potentially a next door neighbor, you might think about it. And ultimately, if you're the seller who's trying to sell that particular house, you're going to want to make sure that the block wall between you and the next door neighbor's swap meet over there is higher than 5.5 feet, because most people can see over the top of those things. Or I hope you get a very short buyer. So, and hey, guess what? I did not hack up a lung cookie all over the mic, so I'm very glad to be able to finish this up. So you guys have a great weekend. I will be out there showing houses. Hopefully I don't get my clients sick. And you guys take care. It's supposed to be a warm one. Be safe. Watch your kids and pets around the swimming pools, people. We're getting into that season, and I'm going to have a special episode of how not to drown your kid. And we'll discuss all the pool safety stuff. I want to do that this week, but didn't have time for the slides, and I'm not sure how well my voice would keep racking through that. So thank you very much. Have a great weekend. Keep working your circles, and see you guys next week.